Okay, hi everyone at home watching after the fact. We're happy to not see you here, but we're happy that you're watching this recording afterwards. Thank you for taking the time to have a look over this Adobe XD workshop for the Design for Change competition. We're really excited to run you through this amazing program, and we hope that you learn something new. So let's start with some introductions. My name is Julia. I'll be the moderator for today, so I'll be introducing this session and getting us all off started. We have the wonderful Beta here, who's going to explain to you the Design for Change competition and run you through everything you need to know about that. And then finally, we have Tom here, who is going to be your Adobe coach for today, and he's going to teach you all about Adobe XD. Before we get started, I would like to make an acknowledgement of country. We respectfully acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional owners of the land on which Swinburne's Australian campuses are located in Melbourne's east and outer east. And we'd like to pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging. We would also like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional owners of lands all across Australia, their elders, ancestors, cultures and heritage, and we acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Okay, so if you didn't know already, Swinburne is a Adobe Creative Campus. What that means is that you get access to all of the Adobe programs completely for free. You have access to the coaches, so we're a team of students and ex-students who are here to help you with any Adobe questions you might have. We run workshops just like this one all throughout the year, and we have drop-in sessions in the library as well as a bunch of online resources and tutorials as well. So we'll send out some more information about that after the workshop. But yeah, just so you know, we're here to help. And if you've got any questions, you can always feel free to get in touch with us. On the agenda today, we're going to be looking through Adobe XD. If you've never used XD before, don't worry, you're in the right place. This is a totally beginner-friendly workshop, so don't feel nervous. We hope that you are confident in your ability. We assure you that anyone can use this program. It's really not as scary as it looks. So if you open it up and you're thinking, oh gosh, what's going on? Where am I? Please don't worry. We're going to run you through everything you need to know. We're going to begin by taking a look at the XD interface. We're going to have a look at all the different tools that it has to offer. We're going to look at how to use plugins, which are extra features that XD can offer. And then we're going to move into creating a wireframe for a website template. And then we're going to take that wireframe into an actual working prototype. So by the time that you come out of this workshop, you're going to know how to create an entire website prototype from the ground up. Before we get started, make sure that you're signed into the Adobe Creative Cloud using your Swinburne student email and your Swinburne student password. Make sure that you have the XD app installed and open and the workshop assets downloaded. I'll pop a link in the chat, and when we edit this video, I'll put the link up on screen for you to head to as well. For those who are joining us in person today, please make sure that your microphones and videos stay off throughout the workshop. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Just pop them in the chat and either myself or Tom will answer those for you. And please do follow along with us today. We always find that students who follow along and try and do the tutorial with us always come out of it with more skills than those who just maybe watch. So if you can, please do follow along. And yeah, we hope that you enjoy this session. We hope you have fun and learn something new. And with that, I'll hand over to Beta.
Thank you so much, Julia. And I really appreciate all of the efforts and opportunity that the Adobe coach is providing for the students. So this is an opportunity for you. This is going to be 1 hour recorded session, but please be in contact with the Adobe coaches. Just to go to a very brief explanation about what is the Design for Change. Julia, can you please confirm that the slide is running? Good. So we are talking about the Design for Change competition. This is started in 2021, and following the successful program and following the positive feedback from students who extend the networking, who receive the feedback from industry partner, who learn by doing, by practicing on something. And this is not an extra work. We try to talk with the convener of the units. And I know that some of the units, they come close to the, to the assessments that they are close to this, what we are expecting here. So this year in 2023, we are going to have a collaboration. So the women in STEM, they are going to be in the collaboration. And I go through this slide to brief you about what do we expect. So I guess the aim here is we want the group of us and as an academic with a group of collaborators, which I explain shortly, we are running a program which is shaping STEM futures. So design for change is one of the competition. So what we plan, what we aim is to develop Swinburne students' communication and technical skills utilizing multidisciplinary collaborative approach where you can play, risk, and act as an entrepreneur. So we want to help and support you foster the building of digital literacy that will empower students with the skills that it's required for your future career. And you're coming with the design, the prototype that you designed to unpack a challenge, a real world challenge, the one that can inspire community and the one that can contribute to the industry vision. So what is the final product? Let's say if you're in a computing science or you're in design, you're in business, you're any discipline, any Swinburne students here in Australia in Houghton campus and also from Sarawak, you're entitled to participate in the workshops. They are optional. You are going, if you register, you are going to receive the recorded session to use in your own time to be trained. And of course, you can be in contact with Adobe coaches as Julia suggested. So the end product here, whatever you're doing in your unit, in your assessment, or based on your passion or your research. So if you have a digital prototype, and Adobe XD is an option. So if you're coming around a digital prototype, we ask you to come up with a 4-minute video where you can introduce your, your design and pitch your prototype, your startup prototype, and then that would be an entry to this competition. So we want you to be able to come up with a narrative video which explain about the challenge that one of the real world challenges, and then you come up with the way that like in a format of a startup pitch presentation, you can take us through your design solution and your prototype. So we have a vision and our industry partner, which I am going to explain shortly. We have a common vision and we want to make the world a better place to live. And you're going to act on that, and you're going to share and communicate your idea. So the 4-minute video is the end product for this competition. So collaborators, we have our industry partner, Insurance Australia Group, which we call it IAG. So we have a group of the institute that they are working on inspiring girls and women into the STEM. So that's another vision we have. So we have our academic in Sarawak. We have employability team who is helping us to archive this recording session, registration pages. And we have our fantastic Adobe team, the Adobe coaches, and we have Emerging Leaders program. If you didn't hear about Emerging Leaders program, this competition is going to provide you a certificate with the campus participation, which is one of the certificate that Emerging Leaders program provide to you. And if you achieve 4 of those, then you're going to receive the leadership certificate. So that's another topic. If you need to know more, please contact me and I can connect you with the right people. So who is actually involved in this, who is leading? So myself, I don't know if I didn't introduce myself. Again, I am Beta and I am a lecturer. This year I'm working as a work integrated learning academic in the Swinburne. So with me, I have Kaslan, who is the department chair of the computing science, and I have Elliot from design technical, and then he's acting as a design officer. So with this team, of course, we have a judging criteria. We are going to, you're going to submit your 4-minute video. The selected video based on the judging criteria, based on the criteria that is going to be shared and is already in the registration page. It's going to be, we are going to have a live showcase where we are going to play the 4-minute videos, and the judges are going to decide and announce the winner of the Design for Change 2023. Shortly, I'm going to explain what you are going to achieve more than just winning or participation in the Design for Change. So this is just a brief sum and the summary of what we are going to cover in Design for Change. As you can see, we have a Adobe XD, the first workshop today. We are going to run Adobe Rush on Thursday, 13th of April. We are going to have a startup pitch presentation run by entrepreneur from our School of Business or an external industry partner. So on 11th of May. So you are expected to send an email and provide me the outline of your idea by 15th of May, and the 4-minute video in the form of your design in the format of the startup pitch presentation. It's going to be submitted by 29th of May. Let's say if you have an assessment to create a mobile application, you know, aligned with your computing science, then this is basically what you 95% it's done. So you can just create a 4-minute video and come along. And what you're going to achieve, you're going to, the judges' choice is going to be announced in the live showcase, which is on 1st of June 2023. So you're going to, the winner is going to, the winner, it could be an individual or a group of students. We encourage a group of students to reduce the workload and come, you know, for extending this networking and receive the feedback from industry partner and the judges. So they're going to receive $400 and the certificate of the participation and a credit as part of the Emerging Leaders Program, and the story of your success is going to be published. That's why I think if you've done this as part of your assessment, or this is your passion, or this is your research, with a few more steps, just creating 4-minute video, with the support of our amazing Adobe coaches, you are going to be recognized, you're going to be acknowledged, and your work is going to be showcased. And that takes us to some of the winner. I'm not going to play this, but this video can be shared with all of you. So the Sister Cloud was a mobile application inspired girls and women into the STEM. That was the winner team in 2021. And the winner of 2022 was the team leader, it's called, and they made the mobile application. And if you have any question, please contact me. This is the email, and I should be able to assist and share and answer your questions. I'm going to stop sharing, and now Tom is going to start covering the training. Thank you, Tom.
Welcome, guys, to those at home and to the one person here. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Adobe XD. Just confirming you can stream my screen now, can you? Excellent. So, from the project that you've been able to download in the assets link we've put up, you'll find this project. You'll find an empty wireframe, an empty prototype, and an example wireframe and example prototype. So we're going to make the example prototype and the example wireframe, but I find it's much more fun if you try to make your own as we go along, and it doesn't have to look exactly like this. So we'll start off by explaining all the tools that Adobe XD has. At the top, this arrow, this is select, that's V on a Mac and PC. This is square or rectangle, ellipse, triangle, line, and the pen tool, text, artboard, and zoom. Okay, so select, it does what it says on the tin. You can use it to select the various assets around the portfolio. So, for example, selecting this wireframe title, moving it up, moving it down. There you go. The square, circle, and triangle buttons, it's like Photoshop. It's just being able to create a shape. So if I wanted to create a rectangle, I just select rectangle, clicking R. I'd make a rectangle. If I wanted a perfect square, I'd do the same thing, but I'd hold down Shift, and that gives you a perfect square. Same thing for ellipse. I can get an ellipse if I just click and drag, or if I wanted a perfect circle, I would just select Shift and click and drag. And with the triangle, it's the same thing. With lines, it's pretty similar. Just click and drag for a line. If you want a perfectly straight line, you can hold Shift and that will give you a perfectly straight line. Awesome. So we'll just delete all but one of these. So if I've made a shape, I have the option of giving it a fill just over here. So if I wanted to give it a red fill, I could do that. And if I wanted to give it a border of some kind, but right now it's got a grey border, but if I want to give it a border of a different color, that would be just as easy. And to increase the size of the border, right now it's set to size 1, so that's just 1 pixel. That's very thin. So maybe if I set it to 10, there you go. You see the border becomes much more obvious. Cool. So text, you can click and drag a text box and start typing in, or just start typing. There you go, text there. If I want to create a custom shape, I just click pen. That's P for pen. And then I could click that, create a point there, another point there, and another point there. And what's great about XD, as well as programs like Photoshop and Illustrator, is you have the option of auto-aligning your pen tool to various points that you've already set up. So that just makes it a lot easier to create perfectly symmetrical shapes. So I've got my triangle, but if I wanted to create something rounder, I could take a point, click another point, and instead of just clicking, I could click and drag, and you see that creates a curve to the edge of the shape. And the more points you create, the rounder it can get. Lovely. Artboards. Artboards are essentially canvases on which you'd create your wireframes. It's the same as a rectangle tool where I could create whatever size I would like. And again, Shift to create a perfect square. Or if I wanted a wireframe that fits certain dimensions, I just click. And you see right now that's created a wireframe with the dimensions of the iPhone 14 Pro. But it's got the dimensions of lots of different tablets, as well as just the standard HD dimensions you'd use on a normal PC. And you see here, you've got document assets that has pretty much everything we have in this document. We've got color styles, we've got colors, we've got character styles, and we've got components. I'll explain what components are a little later on in the tutorial. You've also got all your artboards and all your wireframes in here, in layers, and that's Command Y or Control Y if you're on a PC. What I'm going to get you to do now is go into plugins, this bottom here, that's Command Shift P if you're on a Mac, or Control Shift P if you're not. And I'm going to get you to download Lorem Ipsum. I've already got it downloaded, but if you don't have it downloaded, all you need to do is go to this plus button in plugins. Here you have all the plugins available for Adobe XD. So right now you can see that you found Lorem Ipsum on the right here. Mine is just installing. Uninstalling, and I'll reinstall it again. And I'll show you how this works once it's installed again. But thanks to Lorem Ipsum, it allows you to just insert huge swaths of placeholder Latin text, the way you see just in your standard wireframes across various different things. So we'll come back to that later. Okay, so now we're going to create a wireframe that will resemble something like this. So you've got these two blank wireframes here, and we're going to make something that resembles this homepage and this project page. So on the left here, that's where we can put our menu. So we can create a circle. Again, that's holding Shift to create a perfect circle. Give that a nice blue fill or turquoise fill, as well as lots of buttons to click on. So that's a nice little rectangle. And what's great about XD that you don't see in many other programs, it's really intuitive to give your rectangles a rounded edge. So you see that you've got these little circles on the edges of the rectangle. Just click and drag, and you get these perfectly rounded edges. Now, what's a very cool feature here is the ability to repeat grid. This saves a lot of time. So just click it, go up to here, click repeat grid, and that just allows you to click and drag. So you have all these buttons. So you now have all these shapes without having to waste time duplicating anything, which I think is very cool. Awesome. I'm also going to create some photos or places where photos would go. Again, go for the perfect squares. Give it a different color to indicate that it's a photo rather than the buttons you see on the side. And again, go for repeat grid to save time. If you want to create something with the same color as a different asset you've seen, but not sure which color it is, all you need to do is press this dropper tool and hover it above the color. And there you go. Repeat grid again, just because it's fun. Awesome. Now you've got a little homepage. What I would like to show you is the ability to extend the height of an artboard so that when you are viewing it later on, you're able to scroll up and down the way you would a normal web page or application on your mobile phone. So you extend it. Now you see we've got this blue dotted line, and this indicates that if we were to view this in presentation mode, we now had the ability to scroll down. And I'll just show you this again. This is our homepage in preview mode, and you see there's no content here now, but we now have the ability to scroll down. And just to show you what I mean properly, I'll add some more content to the page.
So Tom, for someone like me who is not coming from the design aspect, so what you're showing us is how this is going to be look like on and let's say a mobile application, like the platform that you're showing as a wireframe. This is how we should expect to be present based on the size you are going to choose.
Yes, you can select different wireframes depending on what kind of mobile application you're hoping to present. So, if you wanted to present your mobile application was more designed for an iPad rather than the dimensions I'm currently using, then you would select a wireframe that had the dimensions of an iPad, if that makes sense.
Yes. All right. That makes sense. Thank you.
Lovely. So just a shortcut for duplicating triangle shapes and everything, triangles included, would just be to select and hold Shift and hold Shift again, and to keep holding Shift until you've selected all your things, at which point you could just copy and paste. Awesome. So, and what's great about XD is it automatically aligns all your shapes to all the other relative shapes, as you see by that little blue line. Perfect. So if we go back into preview mode, there you go. We scroll down, we've got more content, just because the scroll line would be around here, just between those, just in the wide space between those two yellow rectangles. Cool. So we'll move on to the second wireframe where some more text is involved, as well as some header items. So to activate the Lorem Ipsum plugin, all you need to do is draw a rectangle, have that rectangle selected, go into Lorem Ipsum and hit fill placeholder with text. There you go. That is a lot of text, but you can see it's just that simple. So to repeat, that's a rectangle, the Lorem Ipsum plugin filled with placeholder text, insert text. There you go. Now you've got a massive body of text. And depending on how creative you want to be, I also imagine you could do the same with a circle. Not that you would, because that looks admittedly very strange. Oh no, there you go. It only has to be a rectangle, which makes a lot of sense. Cool. So now we've got our bodies of text. We can align them so they look a bit more practical. You can also shrink down the size of your rectangles. And line them up. So for the sake of this wireframe, we're imagining each body of text is accompanied by a large picture. So as we did before, our pictures will be represented by the color yellow. And if you want to copy a asset quickly, it's just Command C, Command V, There you go, copied perfectly. Lovely. And we'll also create some header items. So that's just clicking text. Call this home. Repeat text again, repeat grid again. There you go. And so we've got this group of home text. So if you select that, that selects the whole thing. But if you want to modify each individual one, just click ungroup grid, and that gives you the option to ungroup. So now I can edit these individually. So home, about, contact. Hold shift to select them all to move them all. And there you go. We've got our header. It's pretty neat, isn't it? And just for prosperity, we'll have a go at changing fonts and giving this page a title. So, project title here. But that font's fairly uninspiring. Not sure what that word I just used was. So, go into text down here. See, we've chosen the Arial font. Choose something with a bit more impact. I think there is literally a font called Impact. We'll use that. There you go, that's very impactful. And we can also change the font size. So, for 30, make it a bit bigger. Let's go 60. Cool. I just position that way one. There you go. We'll now get into the really fun bit, prototypes. So you see on the right here in our example section, they've created I'm not sure what this is. I imagine this is a product page of some sort. A sort of arts design portfolio page. So you see in our prototyping section, we have all these different assets to choose from. So it's just as easy, just as simple as dragging all these assets onto our wireframe so it resembles this example. So we'll do that now. And again, for those making it at home, it doesn't have to resemble exactly this. In fact, I encourage that it doesn't. The more creative you are with this, the more likely you are to learn faster. Now, a problem we've run into, and this is purely because we're using pre-made assets, is the fact that all these are components rather than just text assets. So I can't get them to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own using the same font. So if you click on the text, you'll see that's in Futura font with a size of 24 in medium. So I'm just going to do the same thing. There you go. Now I've got my own little bit of text that resembles all our assets. And this isn't relevant to this project, but I just wanted to show you this because it makes it a lot easier for us to line up our text. So I'll just make some space and go repeat grid again. And maybe get rid of every second one. Cool. So now our options are perfectly lined up. Sweet. Okay, we'll move on. So now it's just a case of dragging all these assets onto the page. And again, it doesn't have to resemble exactly the example, but as long as you're across how it works and what you're trying to make with this, then that's all fine.
So Tom, for the students who wants to create, let's say, a mobile application for their project, so do they need to create this prototype assets related to the project before they start, like similar to what you've done?
Yes.
Before they bring it to the
yeah, that's
okay.
right. So these are all just PNG files brought in from elsewhere. I imagine they were designed in Photoshop or just taken from various free site, royalty-free sites off the internet, perhaps Google Images. If this is for a project, I recommend something like Vector Stock or Pexels for royalty-free photos. But again, it's entirely dependent on what you're designing.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have something that resembles a design homepage. Okay, I'm going to now show you something called a hover state. Okay, so we're now previewing our example homepage. So you see when I hover my mouse over these various photos, we get a sort of gray overlay with titles. So that's very cool. Okay, so we've got this A thing selected, and you see to my right, you've got default state and hover state. So when it's in hover state, it looks like this. And when it's in default state, it looks like that. This is already pre-made, but I'm going to show you how to make it again. So we'll make a square. Make that bright blue. So we've got a new asset. We'll go to components. Right now it's in default state. So we'll create something else. Add state. Hover state. Very good. And now we'll create something to go in hover state. So separate triangle. Make it black, but turn the opacity down. Good. And also give it a title. Make sure that lines up. It does, good. And you can group these as things together by selecting the title and selecting the square while holding Shift and grouping. That's Command G. So there you go. Okay, now you go into your thing. Make sure hover state selected, double click and click and drag. Okay, we will now create a pop element. So you see in prototype example 2, we've got this page here that talks a bit about user interface design, as well as showing a picture. And what actually happens, how you get to this in our example prototype. Okay, so we're an example prototype. If we were to click on this app UI design, we would get this pop-up. So I'll show you how to make that now. Okay, so we'll just drag our thing onto this. We'll make our pop-up to start with. So we'll put our square dead center. You see it's lining up with the pink crosshairs. Okay, so now we've got a pop-up, or our wireframe of a pop-up. So if we go into the prototyping tab, that's here. We're now in prototyping mode. And what happens, all we have to do is click on this thing. And you see we've got the option of this arrow. So just click and drag all the way over to this artboard. And on the right, you've got our interaction panel. So what's the trigger? It's tapping. So that just means clicking on it. So that's good. We'll keep it like this. Type instead of transition, which would just transition the whole, show you the whole page. It wouldn't look very good. You want it to overlay over the top of your design homepage. So we'll go to overlay. And you can see its destination is set to prototype 2, which is what we want. That's the artboard here. Animation. You can add a dissolve in for animation. And the dissolve will have a duration of about 0.3 seconds. So that's what we want. So we'll test that out now. Okay, so we're back in the one that we've made. If we click on this one, see, we get a pop-up. It looks great. That's a lot of fun, I think. Okay, and to get out of the pop-up, just click anywhere else on the page and you're back to your home screen. So we are back in our prototyping stage. I'll show you how to share now. So if I go into share and wanted to share the whole thing, it currently has our entire project selected. So that's every artboard we've been using. But by the time you finish your project, you'll only want to share your functional prototype. So to do that, just go into prototyping mode and find this little home button on the side of the artboard. So click that, and that sets, so we've now created a flow. So I'll just leave that as it is, flow 1. So this is our home page. And because it's also connected to this pop-up, when you share it, the pop-up will also be included. So if we go back into share, you see everything is grayed out except the flow that we want to share. So now all you have to do is create link, and you've got a few different view settings, but for your thing, it'll only be design review. because you'll be getting feedback on a design or prototype. Link access, anyone with a link. Create link. Awesome. So now we have this link. Just click on it. There we go. So our homepage has now opened up in our web browser. So you can explore it. You've got all our overlays. And if we click on our hyperlink, we get our pop-up. There you go. So that brings us to the end of my presentation. But Peter, is there anything you'd like me to go back over, or you think that the students at home would like extra clarification on?
Thank you so much, Tom. I guess this is just the beginning of exploring Adobe XD. We try to keep it simple in the beginning. And as Julia mentioned in the beginning, you always have a chance to be in contact with Adobe coaches. Considering the time, this is right on time. And I guess everything was, from what you explained, Tom, was clear. But as again, the Adobe coaches always explain, unless you practice, you're not going to learn. And once you practice, you might come across some of the problems, and we are here to assist you. I mean, the Adobe coaches who are experts, they are going to assist you. So again, thank you so much, Tom, for covering the Adobe XD training. So again, the Design for Change is an opportunity for you to go beyond your unit, your assessment, and come up with a 4-minute video of your prototype, which is aligned with unpacking a real world challenge. So we are going to communicate this recording with you. We are going to invite you to join us in the next Adobe workshop, which is Adobe Rush. We are going to learn how we can produce a video. And of course, to come up with the content and a script and showcase your prototype, you need to come up with the startup presentation. That is also going to be part of the training. So if you have any concern or question for Adobe coaches or myself, please be in contact with us. Julia, do you want to add anything at the end?
No, I think that's all from us. I'll edit this video shortly. And then we'll send that out, and I'll send through our information sheet that's got all of our links and everything on there as well. So if you aren't sure how to contact us, sit tight and we'll get that information to you shortly.
Thank you so much, Julia. I think if you think that there are more resources that it's useful for students, please share with us with this recording, and I will pass to the registered students. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.